Hi there, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you my dupe for the Art Philosophy Watercolor Confections Woodlands palette, otherwise known as Prima Marketing, because no one will ever stop saying Prima Marketing. So I had a little bit of a hard time duping this one for two particular colors, which I'll discuss when I get to them. Please keep in mind that I don't actually own the Woodlands palette. The reason I started this project in the first place was to use the paints that I already have to create these curated palettes. So my matches are not totally exact because the Art Philosophy company uses the same set of 15 or so pigments to create all of their colors. So they're all blends. Or the majority of them are blends, and I'm going to be using sort of the closest matches that I can find. So without further ado, I'm going to start swatching out some dupe colors. This first color is Sand Ridge. It's originally yellow ochre mixed with black, and the color that I'm putting in for that is Sennelier's Raw Umber. And you'll note that a lot of these colors are from Sennelier. It's mostly because that's the palette I prefer to cannibalize because I don't use that palette very often. So I'm using Sennelier colors, but a lot of these will translate into other brands pretty easily. Next color is Ivory Black. Standing in for Shadow. Again, this is Sennelier. And the next color is Cavern. Now this color is yellow ochre, ivory black, and Prussian blue mixed together, but it reads as a very sort of browny orange. So I'm using Winsor Newton's Burnt Sienna, which is an orange leaning burnt sienna. I think it works pretty well. And I will have all these colors listed in the description box right down there. So if you are looking to purchase any of these colors, if you want more details, I'll have links down there for you. Next color is Foxberry, and I went with Sennelier's Permanent Alizarin Crimson. It's really a beautiful color. Next is Pond. And I'm using Daniel Smith's Cobalt Teal Blue. Now I am pulling this from my Daniel Smith dot card. There's not a lot of pigment left, so it may not be the biggest swatch in the world. But you can get an idea. That is Daniel Smith's Cobalt Teal Blue. Next color is Stream. I'm using Sennelier's Cinereous Blue. But I think that the Mountain Blue from Schmincke would be a good choice, and also Horizon Blue from Holbein would be a good match. You're basically just looking for a blue that has a little bit of white already mixed in. A cobalt blue would also work pretty well there, but cobalt blue granulates, and these colors tend to not granulate so much, so that's why I went with a blue and white mix. The next color is Bear. I went with Sennelier's Burnt Umber here. It's not quite as dark as the original color, but it was as close as I could get. The original Bear color is very dark and rich. Next is Mist, and I went with Daniel Smith's Phthalo Turquoise for this. In particular, the Daniel Smith's Phthalo Turquoise is much more green leaning than, say, Winsor & Newton's Phthalo Turquoise. It's a beautiful Phthalo Turquoise, but it has a lot more green in it than both Winsor & Newton and M. Graham are more blue leaning. This one is very green. So specifically Daniel Smith's Phthalo Turquoise for that color. For the next color, I went with Schmincke's Sepia. Schmincke in particular has a very neutralized sepia color. It's less brown than other brands. It's more blackish, and I thought it worked really well in this spot. It's just a very, very brownish gray color. Next is Daylight. I went with Sennelier's Yellow Lake. You could use a nickel azo yellow or maybe even a Quin Gold. And the next color, Redwood, I used Daniel Smith's Burnt Sienna. And again, I chose Daniel Smith specifically because their Burnt Sienna is more opaque and darker than a lot of burnt siennas. It's very orangey red in a very dark, bold sense, whereas the Cavern with the Winsor & Newton burnt sienna is much oranger. And finally, the Deep Moss color, I went with Sennelier's Phthalo Green Deep. I think for this color, you could use Sennelier's Phthalo Green Deep or Forest Green. I happen to have the Forest Green in my tropical set at the moment, so I pulled the Phthalo Green Deep instead. I would almost say you could swap the two colors, and the only reason that I haven't swapped them is because I prefer, because the tropical set has a regular Phthalo Green in it already, I didn't want to have Phthalo Green Deep in as well. So I went with the Forest Green for the tropical set. So that means that this set gets the Phthalo Green Deep. But I think that the Forest Green is probably a better match for this color. And just so you can see what I'm talking about, I will swatch the Forest Green here for you. It's a little bit more of a natural color. Not quite Perylene green, but it's less in your face. So that's the quick overview of my Woodlands dupe palette. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you're enjoying this exercise. I think it's really important, for me at least, to utilize the paints that I have instead of buying other less expensive curated sets. So I'm enjoying using the paints that I have to recreate these curated palettes. I really love the Art Philosophy palettes. I think they're really fun, but when you already have so much paint, it doesn't really make sense to buy an inexpensive brand just for the curation if you can recreate it yourself. So that is the purpose for these videos, and I hope that you can understand I'm not trying to take away business from Art Philosophy. So anyway, if you have any questions about this process or about the colors I used, please pop a comment down below. Please like and subscribe. It really helps boost the channel's visibility, and if you're subscribed, you'll be notified of more videos as I post them. I'm probably going to be doing a Pastel Dreams palette and a a classics palette dupe as well in the near future, so you can keep your eye on the channel for those. Thanks for watching. Bye.